there, I'm Adeline and it is so nice to meet you. Welcome to the 66 Celebrity Synastry chart reading where we will be covering Hailee Steinfeld and Niall Horan. For those new and returning, I take notes on a synastry chart looking at the personal planet signs, aspects, and if birth times available house overlays. I also add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. Feel free to leave your own in the comments below. Before we start the reading, give this video a like and subscribe for more celebrity synastry chart readings from me. Let's get into it. Starting off with the sun, we have Hailee's sun in Sagittarius and Niall's sun in Virgo. These are both mutable signs. They balance each other out and they work well together. Conflict easily occurs and Niall feels frustrated with Hailee. Hailee gets annoyed with Niall. Hailee's sun overlaid in Niall's second house. Marriage is not possible. I don't believe they are married, but we'll see more where it goes with this. Niall is a valuable asset to Hailee, so I assume potentially related to working well together. Niall may feel used, and Niall senses Hailee wants something more. Potentially why he would feel frustrated with her, I can imagine. Both may be working towards a common goal, and Hailee sees Niall as someone who can help her achieve goals. So far, a big smack of work themed. Niall's sun overlaid in Hailee's fourth house. There's a sense of familiarity, and Hailee trusts Niall deeply. Strong desire to live together, and Hailee feels secure around Niall. Niall feels they belong together, and Niall is very protective of Hailee. They are both committed to each other. Suns are square together. It is love-hate, which we're already seeing so far. We just saw, they're very protective of each other and everything, but then also Niall feels very used here. So definitely on Niall's end, I can imagine it could be love-hate potentially. There's a lack of understanding, and they both assume the role of leader. Competitiveness is a problem. So far seems to be a strong work theme here, so potentially in their careers. Challenge each other to grow and develop, and they initially find each other charming and attractive.
Now for the intermission. This video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized synastry readings on my Etsy store, both basic and detailed. The basic one is very simple to understand. It's not overwhelming at all. It's pretty good for those that are beginners to astrology, just getting the head around astrology, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed one is just like what I do on my channel, just a lot of insight and interpretation on your chart. So if you are interested in that and everything else astrology and tarot related, readings and gifts, then definitely check out my Etsy store. Links are below. I'm always releasing new things, so definitely check it out if you're interested. You can even just favorite the store just to show your support for free. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the reading.
Hailee's sun, Trine, Niall's Venus. There's mutual attraction and they both value each other. It's a harmonious relationship and they are financially lucky people. Definitely they do well in their career together. Both share common interests and they accept and tolerate each other. Niall is willing to do anything to please Hailee, and Niall finds Hailee charming and intriguing. I assume this has to be connected to him feeling like protective over her, I assume. Hailee feels more loving and beautiful around Niall. Hailee's sun, Sextile, Niall's is Mars. They motivate each other and they give each other space, which I imagine can be very good if they are both, because so far it seems like they both seem to be career focused, like that seems to be their priority. So it definitely would help that they motivate each other, give each other space for that. They have different hobbies. Yeah, they do have, I believe they do have kind of different careers. They both do music, but I believe Hailee does some acting as well. Hailee admires Niall's drive and they can further the other's goals. It seems like Niall is the one to do that for Hailee. They both give the other confidence, which we just saw. Hailee feels more, beautiful around Niall. They are straightforward with each other and they participate in activities together. Neither feels blocked and they tend to get annoyed with each other. Okay, so that's a strong thing here then. Hailee's sun, Sextile, Niall's is Jupiter. Hailee energizes Niall and they are good travel companions. Niall is generous with Hailee. Yeah, he seems to be, I don't want to say a pushover, but willing to do anything for her and seems to help her with her career. Although he does seem to be a bit annoyed with her. Mutual respect remains after the end. Both want to make the other happy and Niall boosts Hailee's confidence. Again, Niall opens up new doors for Hailee. Not surprisingly so. Niall frequently gives Hailee the benefit of the doubt. So far, I kind of feel bad for Niall, I'm not gonna lie. Hailee's Sun, Sextile Niall's Venus. They really love each other, and Hailee boosts Niall's ego. I'm glad we're seeing that. Both have a desire for cooperation and harmony, and Niall feels adored by Hailee. So I'm guessing, if he feels very adored, like his ego is boosted, I assume that is part of why he may feel, he can be giving Hailee the benefit of the doubt and everything. Niall's Sun conjunct Hailee's Mars. They respect each other they respect and energize each other. We saw the energizing thing from Hailee for Niall before. They both see the other as their type, and Niall sees Hailee as too defensive. Hailee sees Niall as too judgmental, and they challenge and frustrate each other. So it's interesting. There seems to be this, love-hate. Like, they seem to be very frustrated and annoyed with each other, but at the same time, they just seem to feel very good around the other. Niall's Sun, Trine, Hailee's Jupiter. They will overdo together, and they are good travel companions. We're seeing again. Possibility of unpredictability. I'm sure in their careers it would be anyway. Hailee boosts Niall's self-confidence. We're seeing again. They both have a desire to make the other happy, and positive mutual respect will be maintained if they separate. It's interesting how we're seeing there seems to be another indicator that there seems to be an end to this. And that marriage isn't possible. So I wonder where this will be going in terms of like longevity and everything. Hailee gives Niall the benefit of the doubt frequently. So far, so equal, Thus far, on the whole, it seems to be kind of, on par with how they feel about the other. Niall's Sun, Trine, Hailee's Neptune. This is tolerant and forgiving, and Niall strengthens Hailee's ego. They are attuned to each other's feelings. Hailee inspires Niall to be creative. So now it's time for Moon. We have Hailee's Moon in Capricorn and Niall's Moon in Leo. They have contrasting lifestyles, and Niall does not always feel fulfilled. I hate to say it, I get it though. Like, even though, like, yes, they both, like, feel good in this relationship, both seem to give the benefit of the doubt and everything. There seems to be tolerance here. But the issue I have for Niall, he seems to feel a bit used, and I feel like if you're giving a lot and you're not getting a lot in return, I'm not surprised why Niall would be feeling unfulfilled, especially because we haven't seen a whole lot of Hailee doing a lot for Niall in return, except, boosting his ego and everything, but compared to what Niall is doing, I get it. Hailee doesn't give Niall the attention he desires. Oh no. Niall helps Hailee to be more optimistic. Hailee's Moon overlaid in Niall's third house. It's cooperative and friendly, and Hailee admires Niall's lifestyle. I don't like seeing this, like, contrasting lifestyles. It seems like Niall is helping Hailee get his lifestyle. Oh, Hailee is supportive of Niall's priorities. So this is nice. We just saw that she inspires him to be creative, so potentially encourages him to with his music career and everything. They communicate well. Niall enjoys Hailee's company. It's relaxed and productive, and Niall thinks of Hailee often. They don't irritate each other. With what we have seen, a whole lot of irritating each other, I feel like this is just cancelled out. Niall's Moon overlaid in Hailee's second house. Niall values Hailee as a source of emotional satisfaction. Hailee may feel unsure about Niall, and Hailee may become possessive of Niall. They both see each other as valuable, and it's a practical relationship. I don't like this, no. Hailee's Moon square Niall's Mercury. It's emotionally challenging, and they both need to learn to listen. Hailee has a hard time getting Niall to listen, and Hailee doesn't feel Niall values her opinions or respects her intellectually. Oh no. Niall feels Hailee is sensitive to criticism, and Niall feels frustrated with Hailee. Oh dear. I assume maybe that is why potentially Hailee feels a bit unsure about Niall. Maybe he just doesn't really listen to her. Potentially in an emotional sense, because we saw Niall values Hailee as a source of emotional satisfaction. So maybe, she doesn't get the same in return from Niall. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Hailee's Mercury in Capricorn and Niall's Mercury in Libra. These are of cardinal signs. Hailee gets impatient with Niall, and Hailee teaches Niall to be more practical. So it seems like she does kind of help him with his sort of music career in terms of creativity and practicality. Niall teaches Hailee to be open-minded, and they fundamentally communicate the same way. Hailee's Mercury overlaid in Niall's third house. Hailee is more chatty around Niall, and Hailee will enjoy conversations with Niall, and Niall will also enjoy conversations with Hailee. So I'm glad they both seem to be able to talk to each other. There does seem to be that hiccup with Hailee doesn't feel like she's very heard in this relationship though. Niles's Mercury overlaid in Hailee's 4th house. Hailee's emotions are sensitive to Niles's words. Okay, so she doesn't seem to be doing the best emotionally. Hailee can predict what Niall will say, and Hailee is comfortable with Niall. They both feel well in each other's lives. That's nice. You know, we did see like potentially contrasting lifestyles, but it seems like they fit well. Niles's Mercury opposite Hailee's Saturn. Niall needs to be patient with Hailee, and there's a deep respect for the other's intelligence. Seems like this is coming more from Hailee. Niall may feel intimidated by Hailee's practicality. Interesting. Niall might feel like a child around Hailee. Natural communication is difficult, potentially about certain things. Communication-wise, we haven't seen a whole lot of difficulty. It just feels like them as individuals can clash a bit. It's strong and long-lasting. What we have seen so far, like with the note on them not being irritated with each other, because we have seen a bit more elements of them potentially not being long-lasting, I want to see more. Both partners subconsciously enjoy the conflict, okay. Niles' Mercury, Trine Hailee's Uranus. Niles sees Hailee as an intellectual companion, so maybe these two are more like colleagues in that way. Then like maybe Niall is sort of like a mentor to Hailee, potentially opening up those doors, and in return he also gets a bit of like feedback from Hailee. Perceptive and intuitive of each other, which we saw from Hailee predicting what Niall will say. There's open communication. Niall becomes more inventive around Hailee, which is nice. It's nice that he seems to be getting his sort of like creative juice from her. They work together on goals and they encourage each other's vision. So the work seems to be a big theme here. Niles' Mercury, Sextile Hailee's Pluto. They are interested in unique subjects together and they share a lot together. It's a therapist-patient relationship. I have to assume just based off of Hailee not feeling heard, and also how we saw that Niall treats Hailee as a source of emotional satisfaction. I have to assume that, you know, Hailee plays therapist here. They get to the bottom of things quickly, and Niall is fascinated by Hailee's depth. They tell each other their deepest secrets, and they both heal from past relationships together. That's nice. Hailee opens up Niall to new ways of thinking. See, I like this. You know, Niall is opening up doors, and Hailee's opening up Niall's brain. Resolve deeper matters together, and Niall uplifts Hailee. Hailee appreciates Niall's humour. So now it's time for Venus. We have Hailee's Venus in Scorpio and Niall's Venus in Leo. These are both fixed signs. They are possessive of each other, and Hailee takes time to learn about Niall. Hailee feels threatened by Niall's dramatics. It's long term. Okay, so we're seeing a bit more of a balance. Finances are an issue, and it's a passionate and loyal relationship. Hailee respects Niall's strength, and Niall appreciates Hailee's emotional commitment. Oh, I don't like this. It's a rocky relationship. It's not the best. You know, I can definitely see why. It seems to be more on the love-hate side than anything. Hailee's Venus overlaid in Niall's 1st house. Hailee is attracted to Niall, and Hailee enjoys being seen with Niall. See, I do feel bad for Hailee on one end, but also it seems like a bit of using of Niall as well. Niall is flattered by Hailee, and Niall over time may not appreciate the shallow admiration. Okay, so going back to how Hailee doesn't give him the admiration he desires, potentially, yeah, I mean, look, very clearly seeing it, he doesn't appreciate shallow admiration. Potentially, yeah, wants something a bit deeper of admiration than what Hailee's providing. Hailee doesn't pay attention to the regular Niall. This isn't great. Niall's Venus overlaid in Hailee's 3rd house. Niall feels more comfortable around Hailee, and they are good friends. Niall sees Hailee as easily approachable, and they trust each other. Niall makes Hailee happy, and there's easy and natural communication. It seems like communication is just very off when it comes to emotions. Their Venus signs are square together, so they approach love and domestic life in different ways. Potentially why marriage is not the most possible option. Attracted to their differences. We did see that they both subconsciously enjoy the conflict, so I can't say I'm surprised. They have different social backgrounds. I believe, yeah, Niall's Irish, and I believe or assume Hailee is American somewhere. Differences become more obvious over time, and decision making together is complicated. Neither know how to please the other. There does seem to be a desire to make either other happy, though, I will say that. There's different social needs, and they both need to learn to be open. Arguments over money easily occur. Interesting, we saw before finances are an issue, so it's a difficult long-term relationship. Yeah, if it is long-term, honestly, just considering everything we have seen, I would be difficult. They have an ability to have an honest and balanced relationship. I mean, we did see in the beginning that they do balance each other out, so that is there. Hailee's Venus square Niall's Saturn. Niall is critical and demanding of Hailee. Oh no, we haven't seen this before. Hailee eventually withholds affection from Niall. Considering what we have seen in the reading, and what Niall seems to think is affection, the admiration thing. So the way I see this is she is eventually withholding the admiration she has for Niall. Hailee sees Niall as unsympathetic, and Niall sees Hailee as childish and undisciplined. I'm not surprised, just considering, what we are seeing here, and I believe there is definitely Niall being the older one here. And it seems like she's kind of like newer to the industry from what we are seeing here, and Niall is opening up the doors and everything. Criticism is rooted from jealousy. Hailee's Venus conjunct Niall's Pluto. Intensity constantly deepens, and there's a strong pull to each other. Manipulation of the other can occur. I hate to say it, I'm not shocked, considering these two, it's a bit iffy. It's karmic. That is a great way of putting it, karmic. It's a deep emotional tie, and Niall can read Hailee. So it seems like they are both quite intuitive of each other. So now it's time for Mars. We have Hailee's Mars in Virgo and Niall's Mars in Libra. Hailee tends to be critical of Niall. Are we seeing this again? I don't like this. Niall defends Hailee, and they compromise with each other. That's nice. Hailee gets nervous around Niall. I mean, as I'm sure we all would. Hailee's Mars overlaid in Niall's 12th house. Niall feels uncomfortable around Hailee, and Hailee feels drained by Niall. I assume for Hailee it would just be the whole emotional thing. Hailee brings out a hidden side of Niall, and Niall wants to protect Hailee, which we saw in the beginning. Relationship formed from having to protect one another, and Niall sees the more fragile part of Hailee. I wonder, because from what we have seen so far, besides Niall seeing Hailee's a bit more childish and undisciplined, there's nothing else to indicate why, Niall is so protective of Hailee. We have only seen that he's protective. Niall's Mars overlaid in Hailee's 5th house. Niall likes to initiate dangerous activities, and Hailee is flustered around Niall. We're seeing again a whole nervousness thing. Niall seeks admiration from Hailee, so that seems to be a real issue for Niall than the whole admiration thing. Niall finds Hailee childish and obnoxious. Again, I guess that is why he would be seeing, feel protective of Hailee, and the fragile part, maybe her more childlike qualities. Maybe they met when Hailee was kind of like entering the industry. Hailee's Mars trine Niall's Uranus. Hailee feels free around Niall, and it's an unusual meeting. They respect each other's independence, going back to the beginning. There seems to be a real giving each other a space and everything. Hailee is not a fan of Niall's lack of boundaries. Hailee's Mars trine Niall's Neptune. There's a lack of boundaries, which we saw on Niall's end just now. Niall strengthens Hailee's ego. Ego strengthening is a big thing. Hailee feels confident around Niall, and Hailee is more dominant. Interesting. Hailee's Mars sextile Niall's Pluto. Hailee's daring nature is attractive to Niall. They're competitive, its potential to be destructive or dangerous. I'm not obsessed with this, and seeing how Niall likes to initiate dangerous activities, there seems to be like a little rebellion thing going on here. Power issues, which I'm not surprised. We saw Hailee is more dominant, but also you have Niall being more sort of like status, opulent. That's not the right word. He has more of a status, more industry connections and everything. And I'm pretty sure he is older than Hailee, so I assume there would be power struggles there. Niall's Mars square Hailee's Jupiter. They meet in a fun way. I wonder what this unusual fun meeting is. Hailee sees Niall as selfish. I do feel bad for her when it comes to emotions, because it seems like Niall is kind of using her for that. Niall sees Hailee's logic as hindrance. I wonder what parts, because I feel like creatively and practicality-wise, Niall seems to really appreciate Hailee, so I wonder what else. Encourage each other to be reckless. What is going on here? This is odd. Hailee may be a bad influence on Niall. Honestly, I'm not obsessed with these two together. Niall's Mars square Hailee's Neptune. They need honesty to make this work, and circumstances in meeting were never understood by one of the partners. either. What is their meaning? I'm very curious about what these two people are, because what is going on? So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. If you are still watching, please share your thoughts below, because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this one and how you interpreted this one, because this was certainly a different reading, a bit more on the strange side. If you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these weekly. Besides that, give this video a like, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!